Check, 1, 2. All right, we're rolling. We're rolling. Finally, after what feels like an eternity. My name is DJ Hodder, and welcome to the very first episode of the Hodder Show. Or as I'm probably going to call it in podcast, the Hodcast. See what it is? Because my last name's Hodder, and this is a podcast, and I'm doing it, so it's going to be the Hodcast. I should probably not use that joke ever again. But anyway, all things aside, so awesome for clicking the play button. I know that, you got a lot to do in a day. Everyone's busy, everyone's working, everyone's out there making money to pay their damn bills, or they're going to school so they can make money to pay their damn bills. I get it. There's so much you got going on. There's so much different forms of entertainment and different talk shows. There's tons of friggin' podcasts. So whoever you are, whether you're a friend of mine, family, someone that I've met at some point during my 24 years on this earth, or you're just some random person who decided, you know what, I'm going to click play on this because I'm really bored and literally have nothing else better to do with my time. Thank you. Because you clicking play says to me, you know what? There is some people out there who actually want to sit and listen to you ramble on aimlessly about anything, which to me, it kind of confuses me, but I'll take it, because this is something I've been wanting to do for a while. I love podcasts. I love podcasting of any kind. I'll sit and listen to podcasts for hours. I love my my wrestling podcasts, Stone Cold's podcast, Jericho's podcast, JR's podcast. And I also am a huge fan of the Hodder Show, which is Jamie Josta from Hatebreed, Kingdom of Sorrow. Josta, his side band, is his podcast. So it's inspired me to decide to just kind of do this. I've been talking a lot, probably over the last 2 years, of wanting to do this in some capacity. This is not by any means a studio-done podcast. I am literally sitting in my work area that I do for my business, Hodder Guitar Services. Little plug in there, because that's what I do. And I'm sitting at my workbench, and I have a little PV tabletop mic stand, and a PV microphone with a very basic wind filter running into my phone. And that's what I'm using to record this. So if there's any audio issues or anything like that, please forgive me. As time goes on, I'm going to try and make these so much better. Just unfortunately, I don't really have a computer that I can do this on right now. So gotta make do with what you got. Now, a lot of people say to me, you want to do a podcast? Why? What could you talk about that people might find even remotely interesting? And you know what? You're right. What can I talk about that people might find even remotely interesting? Well, throughout my time on this earth, I've been told I'm very good at telling stories. That I make people laugh with my stories, with things that happen to me in my life. And also, when people ask me my opinions on music, my thoughts on different bands, my thoughts on the current state of music in general, my thoughts on local bands, all sorts of stuff. I love talking about my opinions on stuff. So, that's really the main reason I'm doing this, because it gives me an outlet to literally just spew all the bullshit that's on my mind. So this is going to be literally all over the place, as this intro already has been. I don't even know where I'm going with this anymore. So I'm just running with it, because you know what? This is live audio. This is what podcasting is all about. You sit down with a microphone and you talk about whatever is on your mind. And tonight, well, this is what's on my mind. I finally decided tonight was the night I'm going to do this, and that would be my phone. Now, I wasn't kidding around when I said this is live audio, okay, kids? Literally, I am sitting here with a microphone that runs into this little cable right here. You can't see it, but just play along with me at home here. Running into this little guy here, my old Apoja Jam, running into my damn phone. And you know what? My phone just rang. Stuff like that's going to happen. It happened to be my lovely girlfriend calling me just to check in on me from work, just to do that because she's living with a big man child. She's got to make sure she checks in on me just to make sure I haven't burnt the house down. accidentally like cut my finger off or something, just no bullshit shit to deal with on an everyday basis. I have absolutely no idea how she has put up with me for nearly 4 years now, actually coming up in a couple weeks, but pretty glad she has. So anyway, before I got interrupted by the phone, I was about to go into what I'm doing here today, and basically, this is the first show. This is basically just an intro into what exactly I'm going to be doing here. And like I said earlier, I'm here to talk about my opinions. Those opinions could be on music, different local bands, that kind of thing. Guitars and things like that. For those of you who don't know, I spent about 3 years of my life working at Gigs Music in Bowmanville. I was the manager there for 2 of those years. We'll get into Gigs Music one episode. I've had a lot of people ask me about that, want me to talk about Gigs Music and, how I started there and, some stories of my time there, because I always have dealt with some awesome people, but also I dealt with some pretty interesting people there sometimes, so it could be fun. So I'll have stories about that, I'm a massive wrestling fan, if people out there didn't already know that. So you can be damn sure that there's going to be episodes where we're probably just going to talk wrestling. I'll try to make sure I don't go off on too many subjects one episode, in case there's something one person may want to listen to and there's something another person may want to listen to. I will always make sure that I label what the episode is in the title and in the audio description. I'll make sure if it's going to be a wrestling-based video, I say it's a wrestling-based video. If it's strictly a music-related video, if it's about guitars, or it's about me just telling random bullshit stories about my time at gigs, or, something like that. I've also worked in customer service for pretty much my whole life in some shape or fashion, so you can believe that I got some stories about just crazy people, man, and just things I have seen over time. So that's pretty much what I'm going to be doing here. Things might be a little weird at the start. Obviously, this is my first time doing any kind of a podcast thing like this. This is all done, like I said, this is done totally, I guess you could say DIY, I guess, if I want to get technical, because there's no studio happening here. There's going to be no editing happening here. Like I said, I didn't edit out the damn phone. I didn't do any of that. It's just, this is what you're going to get. You guys want live audio. You guys want a damn podcast. That's what you're going to get. I just slammed my hand on the table, probably ruining the audio, but no editing. Like I said, no editing. So just forgive me if that was really loud. But as time goes on, I'm going to make sure that I do what I can to make this as good as I can. But another thing that's going to happen on the show, I'm going to try and maybe have some guests on once in a while. It could be something kind of interesting. Whether it's a friend of mine that I think is interesting, that we could have a good conversation with, whether it's one of my buddies that we can talk about wrestling. Wrestling, brother. Do you shoot, brother? Whether it's someone that I met during my time at gigs, being them being a musician or something like that, I have lots of local bands that may possibly be interested in being on the show. You never know, It's not something I'm going to do all the time. These shows aren't going to be something that I'm going to drop one, every week. It might turn out to be like that. I'm not going to go ahead and make any kind of a schedule yet or anything, just because these are going to be all over the place, Like this one's dropping, technically it's going to be tomorrow morning, but it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to drop one every Thursday morning or every Thursday. It's going to be all over the place. If there's something that has happened in life or in my life or something, you can bet your ass that I'm sure I'll probably, discuss it on the podcast as well. If there's a chance I'm going to be seeing somebody who I think could be interesting to be on the podcast, you bet your ass I'm going to record it. There's going to be no planning or anything like that, because that's what I think makes good podcasts. Like I said, some of the podcasts I really like doing, it's just this. Guys just sit and they talk, or a guy just sits and talks about stuff. And to me, that's what makes a good podcast. So, again, like I said, this is mainly just an intro show. I'm kind of going to explain everything of what I'm doing, and maybe go into a little bit more right now of who I am, if you don't already know, and I haven't explained good enough. Basically, my name is TJ Hodder, and I'm a pretty average guy for the most part. I have a lovely girlfriend that I've been dating now it'll be 4 years in February. I love her very much. I love my family, love my friends. I love my 2 damn cats. Okay, I love my cats. I'm sure every once in a while you'll hear about my cats, because they're funny, and they do funny shit. They're basically my kids, okay? So just get over it. I'm not going to sit and talk about my cats for a whole podcast or anything like that. But if they do something funny, you can bet your ass I'm gonna talk about it. I am a big music guy. Always have been pretty much my whole life. Big fan of heavy metal. Also a big fan of rock, obviously hard rock, modern rock. I love the classics as well. So you can be sure that we're going to talk about that in full. Some favorite bands and stuff. My favorite band of all time, of course, being Alice in Chains. So, if you like Alice in Chains, go ahead and give this a like right now. Go ahead and comment right now. I love Alice in Chains. They're awesome. Because they are. Love their stuff. New and old. Obviously, Lane was my favorite vocalist of all time. So, obviously I miss him, but I love Duvall as well. But I'm not going to get into Alice in Chains right now. I could probably do a whole podcast on how much I love Alice in Chains. But I'm also big into music as far as playing it. I've been playing guitar now for about 8 years, somewhere in that ballpark. Started around the time I was about 15. Got more serious into playing once I was out of high school and had a little bit more time on my hands to play, of course. Play acoustic guitar, electric guitar. I've played, baritone guitar and stuff, which I do consider it's kind of different. Play a little bit of bass. Do a little bit of songwriting and stuff just for fun, with my buddies or just on my own. I do sing a little bit. Not good, but I will do it. I spent, kind of speaking on the top of music, I spent about 3 years of my life, the last 3 years, working at Gigs Music, where I'm sure a lot of people who listen to this podcast probably met me through there. I spent, especially the last 2 years, I was managing the store for the last 2 years we were open, and I spent a lot of time there. And I met a lot of awesome people, a lot of really great local bands. So hopefully, if someone's listening who knows you through there, hey, how you doing? If I haven't seen you in a while, hope things are going well. You are awesome for clicking the play button. I really appreciate it. And I'm probably going to do a podcast strictly on Gigs Music, mainly because with the store closing down and everything a few months ago, there's a lot of people who have a lot of questions about exactly, hey, like what happened, people always would ask me how I got started there and everything, and always ask me stories that I have about the place. I met a lot of really cool people there, and sometimes would have a lot of weirdos, for lack of a better word. So you can be sure that at some point I'm probably going to do a full podcast on Gigs Music. Another passion in my life that I'm definitely going to be talking about, like I mentioned before, is wrestling. I've been a wrestling fan pretty much as long as I can remember. I think I have memories of my parents watching it when I was very young. I actually got a wrestling video game when I was... I'm not even sure how old I was. It was WrestleMania 2000 for the N64. If you know that game, you are awesome. Played that, and I think I played the game for quite a bit, and then I actually started watching it and absolutely fell in love with it. Never really had a full desire, other than when I was much younger, to actually be a wrestler. I think I took a bump once and I just went, man, this is not for me. I am not a wrestler, and that's okay. I still have a passion for it, even though I have never done it. But I respect anyone who ever has. So wrestling's definitely something that's going to be talked about a lot on here, I'm sure. Especially if I have some of my buddies on at some point. A couple of my buddies are involved with doing some of the YouTube videos, and that. My one buddy Brandon, who you can guarantee he'll be on here at some point, he does a lot of wrestling YouTube reviews, as well as he does also do some online streaming for games and stuff like that, which is another thing I'm sure I'll talk about from time to time on here, because I am a big gamer. I prefer my RPG style games and stuff like that, but I also love my wrestling games, of course. And, don't mind an occasional shooter or something like that once in a blue moon. So I'm sure, if I have some of my buddies on, we'll talk. I might have a time where if a bunch of me and my buddies are just hanging out, kind of having a good time playing some games or something, I might turn on the old microphone, just get some audio rolling and just see how it goes. It could be something cool. Listening to us just be complete and utter idiots, which is what we do best. It is our specialty. And as far as much else about me, it's that's pretty much it. I'm a pretty simple dude. I love my love my girlfriend. I love music and wrestling and gaming. And that's pretty much it. There's not really much else to tell about me. So hopefully that kind of gets you guys to maybe know me a little bit better. Tell me about yourselves. This the old SoundCloud here has a comment section. And, drop me a line. We'll chat. Hey, maybe I can get you on the podcast sometime. We can sit here, get these microphones going. I got 2 of these gimmicks right here. I got another one of these tabletop mic stands. We'll hang out, have a good time. It's something that could be fun. I do want to do interviews at some point, or I'm not going to call them interviews, more call them talks. I don't really like interview podcasts. I feel it's kind of weird, I prefer it when it feels like it's just a conversation. So I would potentially, maybe like to have some random guests on here, people who I just think are interesting, Like I mentioned before, I'd love to have some local bands on here. So if you're someone in a local band and you maybe are interested in doing the podcast at some point, once I get things a little more up and running, please feel free to drop me a line. You can either comment on here or something. Follow me on SoundCloud here at The Hodder Show. You can find me personally on Facebook, TJ Hodder, or even if you want to drop me an email, I set up an email for this, so it's thehoddershow@gmail.com. The Hodder Show is all one word. So if anyone has anything at all they want to talk about, or any comments on the show, or even suggestions, guys, I'm new to this whole thing. As I mentioned before, I'm doing this pretty cheaply, but if anyone has any suggestions about anything, I will be happy to take any suggestions or even criticisms. If someone's like, man, this sucks, let me know. I can handle criticism, don't worry. I mean, obviously, this isn't going to be for everybody. This is mainly going to be for either people who know me or people who just like to listen to some idiot ramble on aimlessly about stuff. Or if I do a certain episode on something specific, like I mentioned I'm going to do, I'll always try and put in the title, what's going on? And as far as people coming on the podcast, if there's anything someone has that they want to talk about, anything at all, you want to, come on and talk about something, obviously as time goes on, the more more listeners I get and things like that, obviously, it might benefit you if there's something going on to talk about it. If you're a band that's got an album coming out, or you're a band that's got a show coming up, or if you're an event promoter and you got something going on, you want to talk about it. This is an outlet. This is strictly, mainly an outlet for me, but at the same time, I will bring things to people's attention that I feel are important. If there's something going on, like I said before, an album release, or if there's a new video coming up on my buddy's YouTube channel, or if there's something I'm doing personally, I'm sure I'll talk about it. Something else I'm definitely going to plug when I get the chance is my business, Hodder Guitar Services. Obviously, with my time at Gigs Music, I was the tech there as well as the manager. So I worked on all different guitars and things like that. I'm not a luthier by any means, but it's something I really have a passion for as well. Don't make a lot of money doing it, but it's, I don't do it for the money. I do it for the love of it. So I'm sure if there's a really interesting guitar I'm working on or something like that, I'm sure I'll talk about it on the podcast. Because at the end of the day, this is my podcast. So I'll talk about whatever I want. And if people don't like it, then they don't have to listen. So if you do like it, right on. You're awesome. And I think that's pretty much going to be it for this first episode of the Hodder Show. 15, 20-minute show. I'm going to try and push it for 30 sometimes, but this being the first episode, I didn't want to push it. I wanted to just talk quickly about what I'm kind of going to do here. I don't know if I'd call it quickly. I've kind of rambled on for a little bit, but hopefully this will give you guys an idea of what to expect of things to come. Like I said before, if anyone has any questions or comments or anything at all, please feel free to go ahead and comment on this video. Please subscribe and follow me on SoundCloud. I really, really appreciate it. The more followers I get, the more shows potentially I'll do. As of right now, I'm thinking I might do one every 2 weeks or maybe every week or twice a week or 3 times a week. Who knows? We'll just see what happens. If I feel really inspired, I'll probably do, a show a week, maybe, I'm thinking, as of right now. But also feel free to send me an email or anything at on my Gmail account that I mentioned earlier, thehoddershow@gmail.com. It's all one word. And yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. So thanks so much for listening in to the very first episode, the intro episode, I'm calling it, of the Hodder Show. We will catch you guys down the road. Thanks so much for listening.